Most clinic owners are wasting their marketing time focusing on the wrong areas. They're trying to do their own SEO. They're trying to post all of their own stuff to social media. But those are not the most high value activities that a clinic owner or a clinic employee can be focusing on. In this video, I'm going to go over the 3 areas that you get attention via marketing for your med spa: when people search, when people scroll, and when people socialize. And I'm going to give you a breakdown of the activities you should be doing that are going to be the most profitable in each category. 2 of them you should be delegating almost entirely, and 1 you should be driving like crazy. Let's break them down. So the first place that you show up is showing up when people search. Meaning, if somebody's doing any kind of research, you are displaying. If they are looking up in Google, if they are looking up in ChatGPT, if they're looking up in Claude, if they're looking up in any AI search engine, any way that they're doing research, that is you showing up in the search phase. Because that search, scroll, and socialize categories, they're 3 completely different sides of the person's brain. And so as they are researching you, you want to show up. So you want to show up in Google, you want to show up in ChatGPT, and you want to show up in all the other AI engines that are popping up. Here are the activities that have to happen in order for your search to do pretty well. There's some other things you can do, but here's some basics. Number 1, you got to have a great website. Okay. Got to have a great website that gets you ranking in search and in AI. Number 2, that website has to have a strong SEO and AEO strategy, meaning that it is geared and built so that you show up well. Number 3, you need to optimize your Google My Business page, your GMB, which is what shows up on the maps rankings. If you go to business.google.com, that's what shows up on the maps rankings. That's what, when people leave reviews on Google, that's on GMB as well, which brings me to my last one, is reviews. These are kind of the 4 activities. You could probably argue maybe a little bit of YouTube could be part of the search side, but I want to just stick to kind of the 4 categories: a good website, really good SEO and AEO, a good GMB profile, and reviews. There are a couple of these things that if you invest time and effort into, oh my gosh, it yields amazing results for you. And there's a couple of things here that if you invest time and effort into, you're just saving a couple bucks a month, and you're not making money for your clinic, you are saving money for your clinic. So web and SEO, you should completely delegate. It doesn't need you. It doesn't need you. You might say, you might have some ambitious person on staff that says, oh my gosh, well, I could do websites, I could do SEO, I can edit pictures, I can do all this stuff. And that's awesome. But they are not revenue generating activities. You want people on your staff and you to be doing revenue generating activities, not money saving activities. Money saving activities are a waste of time. It is a defensive play, and it's something that is non-productive for your business and honestly keeps you going under constantly. Because what? Watch this. The employee that says they could edit the website themselves and do SEO themselves, let's say that's a front desk staff. And instead of them improving their sales conversion rate, they're worried about saving $700 a month on some SEO content or something like that, or even $1,000 a month on SEO content. Let's say this person says, I'm going to take over SEO, and they're going to do A, not as good of a job as an agency, but B, they're going to be wasting their time doing SEO. So this person saves you $1,000 a month and saves you $12,000 a year, which, you're like, man, 12 grand in my pocket. That's awesome. If this front desk person had reinvested into their sales conversion rate and increased that by 10%, they could have made you $200,000. So them focusing on money saving activities instead of revenue generating activities lost you $188,000. Lost you $188,000 because you could have made more. Okay. You have to start thinking in terms of, is the effort that me and my team are making right now making us money? Not how can I save a buck? And I know when times are tough that it's like you're looking at ways to cut expenses. You're looking at ways to trim up your business so that you have to get out of that mindset, out of that scarcity mindset. You have to get out of it and think what generates revenue. Okay. Think in terms of what generates revenue. So when you are thinking of the search category, you need to completely delegate web, in my opinion. You need to completely delegate search and AEO, in my opinion, because they don't require your face and they don't require you to touch people. Google My Business, I think you should maybe partially delegate. Delegate some of the technical things that it's like, I don't want to deal with it. But, when it's taking pictures in your clinic or it's making posts that make people feel like, oh my gosh, these people are here and they're real, awesome. Reviews, That should be the biggest thing that you invest into from your clinic side in the search side, is get more reviews in your clinic. And when a review happens, give an authentic response as quickly as you can. Maybe even call the person. Hey, thank you so much for that. That meant so much to us. Oh my gosh, you have no idea, whatever it is. Okay. So that's the search side. The search side is you should be delegating web and SEO, mostly delegating Google My Business, and hyper focusing on just reviews. If you in your clinic are wasting time on web because you're like, oh, well, it's expensive. I want to save $12,000 a year, or I want to save even $24,000. You pick a number. It is not going to be more than you could have made focusing here and on your sales pipeline. Okay. So completely delegate, partially delegate, and handle this as much in-house as physically possible. Next. So you show up when they search. Now you want to show up when they scroll. Scrolling is showing up on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube Shorts. Don't sleep on YouTube Shorts. It'll change your business. Don't sleep on having content there. Most clinic owners think, I've got to post every single day. I got to post multiple times a day. I have to blah, 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 blah. Yes, you should, but you shouldn't. Posting to the platform, it's a waste of your time. It is not an RGA. It is not a revenue generating activity. It is a money saving activity. You could be delegating that to somebody, and I would not delegate it to a staff member. Staff members in-house are expensive. You need them to be profitable. Having them waste their time posting content when they say, oh my gosh, but I don't mind it. I don't mind posting. I love it. I love posting. That is a $20 an hour task that could be making you $500 an hour. Delegate it. Get it off your plate. Making the content is an RGA, baby. Making as much content as physically possible is a revenue generating activity. And by the way, if your clinic is under $1 million, if your clinic's under $2 million a year, you should be spending 4 hours a day in marketing. 4 hours a day in marketing if you are under $2 million. You say, oh my gosh, Jared, that's exhausting. I don't want to film content for 4 hours a day. I didn't say you had to film content. In your marketing efforts, search, scroll, and socialize, you should be spending 4 hours a day if you are under $2 million in order to generate the leads and the speed that you need in order to grow. So for your scroll side, there's a handful of activities that you can be doing. You can be creating authentic stories, filming new content. And I'll hear this all the time. Clinics say, oh, well, nobody wants to be filmed, Jared. No, none of our patients want to be filmed. It's the patient. And what happens is their mindset says, oh, it's the patient's fault. The patient doesn't want to be filmed. They don't want to blah, 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 blah. I know lots of clinics, their patients don't have a problem. So either they have magical special patients or you have a bad process. Okay. We got to start pointing the finger at ourselves. So either they have a magical patient population or you have a bad process and you just haven't made it something that's easy for them. And typically the way that it goes is they come in and they say, oh, I'm so sorry, but can we film this for social media? They make it feel like a dirty thing. And the patient's like, no. If you make it bright and light and say, hey, we're so excited about your result. We want to share it with more people. Are you okay with that? And then, oh my gosh, yes. I would love to. Oh my gosh, yeah. If I can inspire somebody else to looking good as video, oh my gosh, they're going to be fired up about it. You just need to go about it properly. Okay. So make sure you're prompting that well with your patients and with your clients. So film stories, film general content within the clinic, because remember, posting the content is just distribution. The actual value is in the content itself. Now, with your social media content, if you want to get a little upgrade, track your hooks and your retention rate. Track what things you are doing to grab attention and keep it. And track your skip rate on Instagram and track your swipe rate on YouTube Shorts in order to know how well that content actually hooked the audience and if it was actually valuable or not. And when you find something that's valuable, double down on it and create more of that. Okay. So you should be focusing on stories. You should be focusing on filming more content. You should be focused on engaging with your audience. This is something that you could probably delegate. Like you could have somebody that goes through your feed and just likes posts and comments, wow, amazing, love it, whatever. Don't sleep on this. Engaging locally is huge. Social media is meant to be social. It's good for you to engage. So I would say you can delegate posting, but you can't really delegate creation for the most part. Like you still need to be involved. So I would say be hyper involved here, be hyper involved here, and partially involved here. You should still be engaging. Okay. So the majority of what you should be focusing on every day when you're filming content is how do we make more stuff that people are going to get value out of and that people are going to engage with. And just make sure that you have good variety, by the way, in your scroll content. Sometimes people will get like one thing that works for them and they'll just do that one thing over and over and over again, and then it gets lost in the sauce. So if you have this series where you say, here's a list of my favorite skincare tips or something like that, and people love it, do that every 3 or 4 posts, so just have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of content that go out a week, and that's one of them. Okay. So make sure you've got good variety. Your job is to be the content, not to be the social media team. So delegate posting as much as physically possible. You don't have to do it. You shouldn't have to do it. Next, the last one, showing up when they socialize. Showing up when they socialize, this is the one area of marketing that you are never going to be able to fully delegate and that you should be focusing as much as physically possible. And this is the one where most clinics are like, you say, what's your, where do you get most of your patient from? What do they say? They say referrals. They say, oh, somebody told us. Somebody told them about us, and we get referrals from our clients all the time. And then I say, well, how did that happen? They just told each other about us. It's like, okay. So we need to actually have strategy here. Okay. So referrals, we can have a program for that. We can have a refer a friend and both of you get 10% off your next appointment or something, whatever it is. We can have an actual strategy for it. But the other ways that you're going to be showing up in socialization, the goal is that you show up in conversation. So if somebody is going out, you're coming up. If they are like a magazine is an example of like a socialization marketing channel or a billboard, people will point to those and say, oh, well, they don't really get returns. And it's like, but they do validate you locally. So it's not a bad thing to invest into when you're at a certain size. Magazines and billboards, I don't advise anybody invest into prior to 2 million, 3 million, like prior to being fairly large as a med spa, just because it is a big expense for something that is not directly provable for leads. However, it's still valuable because it just shows show of force. It just shows that you are the name in town. It puts you top of mind for everybody out in the ether. I like to call this whole philosophy existence marketing, by the way. This whole philosophy is how do you show up in every room where when somebody searches, there you are. When somebody scrolls, there you are. When somebody is talking to their friend, you're being brought up, okay? And the only way that most people do this is referrals, okay? But there's a handful of other ways that you can do this. Number one, you could build a relationship with a Pilates studio because your goal is you want to go somewhere where your target demographic is. Your target demographic, if they can afford Pilates, they can afford your med spa, okay? So, because Pilates is freaking expensive. I have a wife who does Pilates and it's not cheap. I saw there's a sponsorship for at the school pickup line where they had like a banner or something like that for their med spa at the school pickup line. I thought that was kind of cool. Charity events, getting involved in your local community, having just an event at your clinic. And unfortunately, you really can't delegate any of this. This is where all of your effort as a clinic should be spent. All of your effort should be spent on how can I build more relationships locally and how can I come up more organically in conversations. There are two things on the socialization side that you could delegate, and that's e-blasts and that's texts. You can delegate e-blasts, you can delegate texts. So those two, I would say you can get off your plate, but everything else, you should be investing as much time as physically possible. So when I say 4 hours a day of marketing effort, it's 4 hours a day of calling that local studio. It's like, hey, how are things going? Oh my gosh, we got a few people from you the other day. We really appreciated it. And I'm sending some people your way. Wonderful. It's you calling that school pickup line and saying, hey, by the way, is our ad good for this next month or whatever that we're putting up in the little display. It's calling that local charity and checking in. It's building a stronger patient referral system, whatever it is. It is you investing into how do I build stronger community? Because overall, the premise for this whole thing is what are the activities that only you, the owner, can invest your time and effort into? Because if you are wasting time, effort, and money on doing things that are just saving you a buck instead of generating more revenue and generating more speed locally, you're gonna get left in the dust. Well, if you like this content, you like this video, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video, comment I'm everywhere down below. That way I know that you are building a good search, scroll, and socialization strategy for your aesthetic business. So thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one. Subscribe, like, share this with your friends if this got value to you. Fight me in the comments if you have anything that you disagree with. And if you got this far, comment down below. I'm everywhere.